The interview that I did with 50 Cent, I caught up with him during the week. I really wish that I caught up with him after that pitch. But hey, these things happen. But before we get to hear what we were talking about, let's get acquainted with some of his new music taken from his album dropping June 3rd, Animal Ambition. 50 Cent with Hold On. Good old 50 Cent shit. Watch out for the swearing words. Triple J. This guest is a gentleman whose persona is larger than life, from crushing the mixtape game to having one of the biggest debut album releases ever, to starring in movies, to investing in many profitable ventures. The Queen's MC is about to drop his 5th album next month in the form of Animal Ambition. So once again, we're about to witness the power of fucking 50. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome 50 Cent. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, man, everything's good, man. I've been moving around. I've been working and promoting Animal Ambition. I want people to embrace this music the right way. Like, I thought using prosperity as a theme would be perfect because it's obvious I made a transition. The difference in my approach musically on this project is I wanted, instead of having people try to make people forget that you're well off financially and in a different financial space, and because they'll feel like you're not hungry anymore.
Right.
But you're doing good, and it doesn't mean that. No, if you mean I'm not hurting financially at all, then you're correct, 100%. But as far as hungry to accomplish being able to make music that is relevant to this actual time period, same hunger, man. Like it's the same energy, the same interest in having something that the public embrace in that way. Like, I know that I can't actually achieve the level of success that I've achieved in the past as far as record sales are concerned. You know, like I got the largest debut in hip hop record with 13 million records sold.
It's hard to top that.
Yeah, like you can't. In this climate, it can't be topped. And you know, and so 10 million on my, you know, the project following that. So when you got artists that they would consider successful artists that haven't had one album go platinum, right? Like to be honest with you, like if you look at the actual stats, then there's no record album released by artists like Rick Ross that have 1 million sales connected to it.
That's true.
You know, and they'll put these like artists like they're actually in competition. See, just getting radio airplay would achieve some level of success, the aura of success for some artists.
Yeah.
There's no finances connected to it that would make them equivalent or equal in any way, but in perception, it feels like they're equal. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you feel it is a success, even just getting a record? You know, like taking away financial success and sales, etc. Do you think just getting a song on record is a minor success, a small victory?
It would be a small victory for someone who hadn't had records play.
Right.
You know, like for me, I would feel a gratification connected to having a record played for the very first time. I remember when I heard my song on the radio the first time. After actually being shot, the first person to play my music was Stretch Armstrong, NYPD, LAPD.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he actually played the music, it was like, at that point I was making music without intentions of selling CDs. It was just because I had an opportunity to record it, I just recorded. You know, and now it's very similar because I don't actually, whether the CD sells or not, like it's me making music because music culture means that much to me. I wouldn't be able to do the things I'm doing in business in other categories without the success that I've had through music.
You're listening to the Hip Hop Show on Triple J, chatting with 50 Cent, talking about his new album, Animal Ambition. He's taking it back with this one right here. Watch for the swearing. Then, you're not like me, and I got to catch up with the gentleman himself talking about Animal Ambition, his album dropping in June. And that's what we had to say. Triple J Hip Hop Show. Well, I'm glad you brought up the first time you heard your song on radio. I just wanted to play a song for you and get your thoughts on it and tell me about the first time you heard this particular track.
So that right there, I remember I used to have a cassette tape with a box that we had at the actual house that I used to have to take tissue and put it in a little square so you can record over.
Tape, yeah.
Yeah, because my grandmother used to she used to take the cassette tapes, and she had a little cassette recorder that she carried with her to church. And she would tape everything that the actual minister said during the sermon and watch it and play it again later. Like back at the house, and I'd take her tape. I'd take her tapes. I had one of her tapes that I actually put tissue in the little square so I could record on one side of it. Rewind it. I recorded that off of the radio, live on the radio, and it was a specific time. It was Friday evenings at 6 o'clock that they would play hip hop music. It wouldn't play any time throughout the day when that record came out. You know what I'm saying? Like, our culture's grown so big to the point now that even if a person doesn't choose hip hop as a genre of music for his musical pleasure, he can't escape it.
That's right.
They still have to see it. It's impossible to get around it. Right. And now, because every hour and an hour is hit music that's playing, there's R&B music, there's hit music, pop artists, there's hip-hop artists that have produced things that are now made us something that's recognized worldwide, around the world. But I fell in love with music culture during that period.
And, of course, we took that song, classic, My Melody, Eric B. and Rakim from 1987. Fast forward a few decades to 2014, Animal Ambition drops next month, your 5th studio album. When writing albums, do you find yourself ever reaching back to records like My Melody and artists like BDP and as inspiration?
I listen to those records only to not be jaded, like in my production selection,
right,
by what's happening at the moment. Like, when I did Don't Worry About It on Animal Ambition, I wanted to create music that matched the tones of what's happening within our culture at this point. But I didn't want it to sound like that same beat I feel like we've been rapping to for the last 3 years. Like that same 808, that same hi-hat.
That's right.
Feels like the same song over and over. And I was able to find a piece that matches 50 Cent good. Like, it's harder than a lot of the actual production. But like when the production for Don't Worry About It comes on, and it's not exactly like what they're actually used to, but it's the tempo. So you do the same bop that you would do to that other beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was conscious of it, so I launched Don't Worry About It alongside of Hold On, which is the original 50 Cent. Like, that's me in my pocket. Like, Hold On is no compromise. It's 50 Cent. When I'm, like, I could do that shit with my eyes closed. Like, that's really, that's first nature for me. And like, sometimes I got to work myself into a position, like a point where I want to do a certain type of record. Look, if you listen to Animal Ambition as a whole, there's female references, but there's no songs that are on this actual album that are targeting a female audience.
Right. Nothing like 21 Questions or the
right. Yeah. That was the attempt, and I only did that on 21 Questions on Get Rich or Die Trying. Dre, that was the record that Dre was going, why? Why do you want this record? Because he was like, I know what 50 Cent is. I know what this is. It's NWA. It's just one member. You see what I'm saying? So it was simple. When they had huge hit projects in the past where their reference to females was bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks, it didn't really require the content that I had on 21 Questions. But I had a different idea of how I wanted the female audience to perceive me. So I wanted to have a song that would make them so engaged that they would feel like they're actually answering my questions while I'm performing it on stage.
New York City. Show with the man himself, 50 Cent. Triple J Hip Hop Show. It really does sound like you found your groove again. You've put out strong songs like Big Rich Town featuring Joe, Winner's Circle, Chase the Paper featuring Kid, Styles P and Prodigy. It's so great seeing you team up with Mobb Deep and the Locks and even Fat Joe as of late. New York must be feeling really strong right about now.
Oh yeah, like they get into it, but they always go. That was I didn't expect that. That was cool for me because they don't really expect me to be social. As far as hip hop culture is here in New York City, it's like because it's his birthplace, it's always present. All the major record companies have office spaces and employees. There's representation of them here, and if not, they would have in Los Angeles. But the Universal Music Group has a lot of offices that you can go stop by out here. So whether it's Universal Direct or it's the Capitol building is here, you know what I'm saying? You got the Def Jam building is here. It's places that you can go. But what was really interesting is as the momentum will grow with the 50 Cent project, is no one was reaching out to show that they had extreme interest in it.
Right.
They had developed relationships with Murder Inc. while they were making the records with Ja singing in the rain with Mary J. Blige and doing his love records with J. Lo and all of the shit that was happening in that point, that they didn't really have interest in working with me because of the aggressive energy connected to it that matched my experience. And it just seemed dangerous because everybody was still out. Nobody was in jail. All parties still loose in the city. You know what I mean? So after going through that experience, I created a strong enough momentum for me to come across Eminem from Detroit, I might add, and Dr. Dre from Los Angeles is not really well aware of what they're actually buying at the point that they're giving me the deal. And they give me a deal. So why would I be having a special interest in working with artists from New York City at that point? Like I was more like, don't you bring your ass near me.
Well, that's the nature of the game, right?
Right. Like if you have to work to position yourself just to get a shot, and nobody's there to try and be of support or ally or work with you in any way, and then all of a sudden when you get momentum, they all want to be your friends. You start looking at them and going, yeah, it's cool, man. If you don't get the fuck out of here. Quick, it turns into something that you don't, it makes it hard for you to actually be social and work with different artists. But I always was a Mobb Deep fan, so the first opportunity to do business with P and Havoc, I did it. So they ended up signed to G-Unit,
Yeah. Was that the same case as MOP as well? Not just a fan?
MOP, yeah, the same. It just didn't work. Like, if you have a group of artists that, at MOP at their core, their messaging point is they will fuck you up. Like, that is what the message is, simplifying it. And if you can't run a flight of stairs, I don't believe you. You ain't fucking me up. I don't care what you say. Like, I don't believe it. So I didn't attempt to sell that to the general public when I didn't believe that, the physical state that they were in didn't match the material. They made good music, but it didn't match the presentation.
You're listening to the Hip Hop Show on Triple J, chatting with 50 Cent. His new album, Animal Ambition, is dropping in June. This is Take It From It. This is Chase the Paper featuring Kid, Prodigy, and Styles P of the Locks. A lot of swearing in this, strong content warning as well, so if you have sensitive ears, you might want to turn it down. Triple J, Cent's forthcoming album, Animal Ambition, dropping next month. That is Chase the Paper featuring Kid, Prodigy, and Styles P. I got to catch up with the man himself, 50 Cent. And the song Hustler, such a jam. You've always towed the line between street records and mainstream records really well. At what point did you discover that special formula to tiptoe that line?
Well, I mean, I've always played with melodies.
That's true. Yeah.
Like when artists come now, like now it's different. Like because Drake does it to a production that would traditionally be an R&B production. Like if you mute some of the hit rap records that Drake made, it's over an R&B beat. This is what allows him to do different things in his actual cadence. It's like a slower production. You know what I'm saying? Like and it's like, look, if you listen to rappers that write out of Chicago, they find a comfort with rapping to slower beats with faster cadences. Like this is where you get Twista out of there. You get it's a lot of interesting shit that come out of there cadence-wise. Jeremiah has the ability to rap to those, to write to those records where it feels like a complete rap song. And I mean, it's a lot of different things out there. It's just the production. If you muted it, you couldn't tell me, is this a hit R&B record or a hit rap record?
That's true.
And it'd be a quiz. It can go either way.
You always had the idea of production, like you're talking about R&B beats, but you always chose a hard beat, which I guess always like resonated in the streets.
Yeah, it's hip hop.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna go look, if you write, there's no. We can call it rap, and because you said some fly, you had some good ideas, and you put good lines on your actual song, right? Technically, we'll consider it rap, but the beat that you did it over was an R&B track. So if you go to perform this record live, chances are you're not going to have the audience perform. The crowd won't get as excited as they'll get to hit 50 Cent music, because I'm using real hip-hop records. Real hip-hop production, the energy connected to the actual culture it's a little more aggressive. It's a little more raw.
Beautiful. 50 Cent, thank you very much for joining me, man. It's been a pleasure and an honor, and looking forward to you coming to Australia one day.
Totally.
All right, brother. Take care, mate.
All right.